LG has never been afraid to push boundaries, to do something different. Take the LG G5 from last year. They tried to bring modularity to a mainstream smartphone. Yeah, it failed as it lacked the premium build and other essentials to a smartphone, but at least they were trying something. This year, however, LG is still pushing boundaries, but in a different, successful way. Those boundaries are bezels, and LG is trying to get them off their phone. Meet the LG G6. It is beautiful, functional, and something completely different than what LG has been typically doing. With its glass back, metal side enclosure, and its razor-thin bezels, the G6 is a real looker. From certain angles, the top portion in a side view reminds me of the Google Pixel, but 100 times hotter. And the camera also lays flat on the back, which is a nice change from last year. It feels stealthier in the hands, providing a combination of smooth, if not slightly fingerprint-prone glass, and cool metal that melts into the shape of your hand. It feels like a small phone when holding it, but pop open that display and you'll be shocked to see it's 5.7 inches. A massive display in a small phone size. This is going to be the 2017 trend, and damn am I happy about that. The screen goes almost edge to edge, and without that pesky LG logo at the bottom, I would forget that there are even bezels when in apps like Instagram or other vertical applications. I say vertical applications because in typical LG fashion, there's a slight caveat here. See, the LG G6 has a slightly different aspect ratio than most phones on the market. It is an 18:9 ratio instead of the typical 16:9. That means that LG was able to squeeze in more screen real estate for content. 18:9 is the future in my opinion, but with all new things, there's going to be a slight adjustment period here until our content is 18:9 ready. Take YouTube for an example. When watching videos on YouTube, two black bars appear next to the video to make up for the aspect ratio. With the black version here, they blend in pretty well with the bezels, but on the silver model, they pop out like a sore thumb. It takes this futuristic look and brings it back to reality, but honestly, I'm happy to see LG make the jump, and I'm willing to deal with those chunky bars on screen until the content adapts to it. The screen on the LG G6 is gorgeous though. I mean, seriously, one of the best panels on the market. 1440p with deep blacks, punchy oranges and pinks, and ice cold blues and purples. LG just does displays really well. Something the display is really good at is showing those beautiful pictures the phone takes. The LG G6 is packing two cameras. The primary shooter is a 13 megapixel f1.8 sensor with OIS, 3-axis, and phase detection autofocus. And the second lens is also a 13 megapixel sensor, but it trades in the low aperture for a wide angle lens. The primary camera has better quality and is better in a lot of situations, but the wide angle lens does one thing really well. You guessed it, wide angles. It helps you capture a moment in greater view to better tell a story, which is at the end of the day what cameras are for. I did a full camera comparison of the LG G6 with the iPhone 7 Plus and Samsung Galaxy S8, and I got some pretty interesting results. If you want to check out that video, I'll leave that right here so you can watch it after this one. Videos on this phone are also pretty good quality, and so is the stabilization. It's a lot better than in past years on the LG flagships, but the phone gets burn your fingers hot. The first day I got it, I was actually worried that it was a faulty unit, but from talking to others, I think that it's just an issue with the G6. It gets really hot during recording videos, gaming, or downloading multiple apps at one time. The heat doesn't seem to affect battery life though, which is nice, but for someone that uses their device naked about 70% of the time, it was an issue at times when it just got too hot to hold. The LG G6 has gotten rid of its trademark removable battery and replaced it with water resistance. Love it or hate it, I think that this is the end of removable batteries in premium smartphones. The water resistance holds up and gives me ease during a rainstorm or an accidental spill, and the 3300 mAh battery is still pretty good. 3.5 hours is my average of on-screen time, and that was using it on pretty heavy use on Verizon cellular service, but I've heard some people get up to 6.5 hours of use, so either I'm using my phone a little bit too much, I promise you I don't have a problem, or they're just pretty mild users. My heavy use consisted of binge watching 13 Reasons Why, or watching a ton of crispy Casey Neistat or Jonathan Morrison videos. So I'm not the best to judge. I think that the general consumer can probably pull off 4.5 hours of screen on time on mild to heavy use. The specs the LG G6 is packing is mostly the latest and greatest with the exception of the processor. It is a Snapdragon 821 chip, which is slightly less current, but it still performs really well, and even with running a launcher on top of the LG skin, I haven't had a single issue. That could also be due to the 4GB of RAM that the G6 packs, or software optimization within Android 7.0. Either way, the G6 is pretty fast and it's a very reliable Android smartphone. It's not all perfect though. Some of my gripes with it include the back power button, which acts as a fingerprint sensor. The first small issue is the fact that I can't use the phone when it's resting on a table or something, but that's not a major deal to me. My real issue is that it's not textured enough or leveled differently to quickly find it. That's an issue because it's not only the on button, but it's also the only way of unlocking the phone. I have to fidget around my finger on the back of the phone to find it, and sometimes I even have to flip it over. The Google Pixel, which also had the sensor on the back, did it right because it was below the glass panel, making the small crevice easy to find. Overall, the LG G6 is a safe move for LG. There's nothing super special here that I would want to write home about, but it's still a great smartphone. The screen is gorgeous, the software is pretty manageable, and the cameras are really great quality. The LG G6 would have been an awesome phone if it was released a couple months back. Releasing it right before the S8 means that it's now going to live in the Samsung Galaxy S8 shadow. LG just released this phone at a bad time. Not only is the S8 more striking, but it also has thinner bezels, and not only that, but it's also going to be marketed a lot more than the LG G6. So consumers are going to see the striking S8, and then they're going to see the G6, which is a safer move, and they're probably 9 times out of 10 going to go for the S8. They will have some people that prefer the Android experience on the G6 or having the wide-angle lens, but for the general consumer that LG is targeting this at, they're probably going to pick the S8. And that's really unfortunate because the G6 is actually a really solid smartphone. That's going to be for my take on the LG G6. I want to hear your thoughts though, so let's continue the discussion in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel right here. Watch my other content here. I appreciate you guys all taking the time out to watch this video, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Bye.